Hello and welcome to another episode of Between the Studs. I am your host Daniel, and I am joined today by
Joe
and
Ethan.
And today we are going to be talking about something somewhat specific, but this was a survey that came out February of last year, 2023, revealing basically all of the large-scale sets that were going to come out over the course of the next 2 years now, basically.
Right.
So this is that infamous survey. We covered it on our live stream, The Morning Brick, back in that February, and we have been slowly tracking as these sets have revealed. And it seems now that we are here at the end of 2024 that basically all of these sets that are going to come out have come out. So what we are going to do is we are going to resurrect those survey images and do a side-by-side comparison and actually compare what we received in the set to what the original survey leak was.
Right.
So as you'll see today, some of these are near identical and some of them are very, very different. So without further ado, let us jump in at the first image from this survey, what was arguably, I'm sure, Joe's favorite.
I mean, listen, this was already a high rumor at the time of Rivendell, and this was the first potential pictures we got, and I was like, wow, no, that's too good. This is all fake. That was literally my first thought.
That was it. I remember that
We all
being
were
a
like,
very
no,
contentious topic about when this leak came out was, is this legit or not?
We thought it was going to be micro scale for sure. With
Oh,
it
yeah,
being Rivendell as a link, we were like, yeah, it'll be micro scale. So when we saw this, we were like, no, that's too, no. And everything else in here too, we were like, no, this is all fake.
I was actually kind of vying and hoping for micro scale. I think I would have liked that better than what we actually ended
It
up
would
getting.
have been cool for sure. But anyway, this is basically the final product picture, because if you look at these side by side, it's just the only difference is the picture stretched a little bit.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's the same
it is
picture
the exact
angle.
same
I think
picture.
this was the same picture.
Minifigs are in the same spot.
All the minifigs with all of the printing, as we'll
Right.
see in some of these pictures later on, because they were so preliminary. Some of the minifigures are blank, or the animals and things.
Right.
So
Yeah, this, I mean, absolutely amazing set. So glad we got it. I mean, I bought this day one in New Zealand, so I was pretty excited.
From New Zealand.
Yeah, I was in New Zealand and I ordered.
You didn't buy it in a store in New Zealand and
I
ship
looked.
it.
New Zealand doesn't have a Lego store.
Really?
No,
Interesting.
they have a little outlet spot in a store where there's a shelf full of Lego.
Oh, that's sad.
Interesting.
But no Lego store in New Zealand.
I
I
wonder
was
how
so
many
sad.
Australia has. Ben Costi, let us know how
Yeah,
many
sure, he'll know.
Lego stores Australia has in total.
I felt
It's either
so
going to be
sad.
like 2 or 3, and it's
Or
like
like
one in
10.
each major city, or like 15 or
Yeah.
something. How about you, Ethan? What did you think about this one? Did this one live up to your expectations and your hopes for what this set was going to be, or?
I did not want it to be micro scale.
Okay.
I was kind of hoping we'd get a bunch of minifigures. I thought maybe we'd get like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But we got the whole fellowship,
It
which was
the
super
whole
cool.
Yeah, that's big.
I went straight to the Lego store and just straight up paid cash for it. I think I spent like all my birthday money on it.
Nice.
So.
But
I was
completely valid.
I was just like, yeah, like I need this one.
You're right.
I think I was hoping for micro scale, but still with like maybe a black stand on the side that
Okay,
you could
that'd
put
be
all the
cool.
minifigs
I
on.
think that was the
Of
biggest
course, I
thing.
still wanted the minifigs.
Yeah.
That was, I think, my biggest concern is I thought it would be micro scale and not have minifigs, and that would have been disappointing.
We don't even need to go into cheeked up Bilbo. We won't talk about that here on the video. So without talking about that, we'll go ahead and roll on to our next set. And this was the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs Cottage. Now, this is the first one that is very substantially different in contrast to the Rivendell set. So immediately off the bat, we noticed the different color scheme in the roof going from what looked like dark orange to bright light orange. But some significant textural changes and techniques. So.
Yeah, honestly, that stands out to me more than the colors. The fact that they very much texturized the roof in the actual set that was revealed instead of the studded plates, where it's just kind of a basic roof.
It's a little basic. Yeah,
But
I agree.
The part that I feel like we got robbed is the birch trees in this picture.
Yeah.
They look like they actually had the little birch, and we might have gotten those in a friend set or something. But
We have had those in other things, I think, even prior to this set coming out, which is probably why they used it in the proto model.
I mean, other than that, it's pretty similar as far as it's just still Snow White's cottage. A couple of things they clearly added that was an improvement is adding like the coffin, I guess is what it is.
Yeah, the glass.
It's just an important part of the story.
Yeah. So just a couple other things I noticed. There's some differences in like the timbers on the front. We also got the really nice printed 1x1 tiles with the I think it's like a little owl face for like the ends of the timbers that are sticking out there instead of what here in the original image just looked like the round 1x1 kind of log ends. We got the nice printed shutters there with the heart pattern that doesn't appear to be in the original. The Wishing Well build is also pretty significantly upgraded. As far as minifigures go, this was before they probably decided to add a lot of those new molds. So this is using sort of the standard Dumbledore beard and then the gnome beard, kind of in the original image. Also, no appearance from the Evil Witch or the Prince Charming,
which both came out in other sets before this.
Right.
But they're nice inclusions.
Yeah, you own this one, right?
I actually do own it. Garrett actually gave it to my wife and I for a wedding gift.
Nice.
And it's a really nice set.
I like the dark orange color scheme maybe for the roof, but I see that maybe the parts were only more available in that color.
Possible.
All right, so next up was the first set that we did not even get. This was the Maleficent Dragon set.
Yeah.
Originally supposed to be a nice black base diorama with one of those 2x6 quote tiles.
And is this Prince Philip?
That sounds right to me.
I'm pretty sure that's right.
I can't quite make out what the quote tile would have been. If you have any guesses or speculations, feel free to drop them in the comments.
Probably something dope.
I'm sure it was something cool. This is very iconic. They have a humongous sculpture of this outside the Disney Springs Lego store. That's very iconic. It looks like the wings would have been one of those vinyl or fabric kinds of pieces. So as best I could come up with to have a comparison image, this was a more playset style set of Maleficent's Dragon that came out this year.
Yeah,
so,
which to be fair, it's not a bad dragon, but it's not nearly this.
So it's possible that based on from whatever they learned from the survey, people weren't either willing to pay for this or there wasn't enough interest for it, and they decided we're just going to make it as a playset scale instead of an adult targeted scale.
And the mini dolls instead of minifigs.
Mm-hmm. This is a very nice set here, though, from the original picture.
Would have been so cool.
I think we have probably a good enough angle. It's hard because the dragon is black, but this is probably a decent enough picture that somebody, if they put their mind to it, could effectively recreate this and put some instructions out there. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody hasn't already taken a stab at doing that. But, go check out Rebrickable, see if there's any options out there. Otherwise, maybe consider doing it yourself. Next up, another big one that I know at least 2 out of the 3 people sitting at this table own. This is Barad-dûr, the other probably most significant set that leaked in this from this survey that LEGO did. Not a ton of differences, but how do you guys feel about this one compared to the original?
At the time this came out, this was really wild because we had barely gotten the rumor of Rivendell where we're like, is LEGO really going to do Lord of the Rings again? And then they're like, oh, by the way, look, there might be another one next year. Yeah. And we were like, nah, this is definitely fake. But look at that. Here it is. I own it. You own it. It is good. I think the most notable difference is the base is extended more in this, but I also am not sure if there's a front gate entrance like there is. On the other one, it's kind of hard to tell. Maybe
it's definitely built up at
side.
least an entire extra brick layer.
And then there's some color differences with the rock going up the side of it. It also goes up more than kind of sideways, as it does on the official set. So
this one is slightly more of a rotated angle than that picture we're looking at.
Part of it. Does the original image look much larger to y'all? Like the build?
No.
This one is stretched a little.
You have to remember. Yeah, I would say you have to remember it is stretched out.
Okay.
So I'm sure it's a very similar piece count.
I think so.
I'm sure not much change, but both of them look good. I mean, I'm not upset with either option we would have gotten, but I'm happy with what we got, and it's a good set.
Yeah, for sure. One other thing that may be of note is just because they started making a lot of these like transparent color 2x1 curved slopes, it looks like those were maybe an addition on the final model that might not have been present in the original. We had a lot of that.
There's a lot of those in there.
That nougat and dark orange, but I don't really see any of that yellow color coming through.
Yeah.
So not too much substantially different there, but some nice minor improvements.
Great set,
given that we didn't have a picture of the interior of it. I'm sure there were some more significant changes there, as well as maybe the minifigs. Next up, another set that 2 out of the 3 of us own, but a different 2 out of the 3.
Yeah, I do not own this.
That's right. Ethan and I both own this one. This is the Batman the Animated Series, Gotham City. What do you call this? Skyline? My diorama? I don't know.
I think it's the Skyline.
I wouldn't call it a diorama.
Anyway, this is an interesting side-by-side here. The overall flavor is the same, but they definitely did some rearranging and some changing of some details. So what are some things you're noticing right off the bat here, Ethan?
I actually much rather prefer the Gotham sign over the Batman sign.
Okay, interesting.
I think it just kind of wraps the set up a little bit nicer than just having a Batman sign. I also like that it's not attached to the top because it takes up less shelf space.
That's true.
That is nice.
I'm sure they moved it because it's just kind of covering the building
a little bit, which I can understand.
I don't know where I would have rather them put it though.
I think of the two options, whether it says Gotham or Batman, I like it being lower, honestly, better. Because same reason, but also I think I like that it basically like, look, behind this is this.
Yeah.
You know?
Or
Maybe
they
they
could have
should
made it
just put it
modular.
like up in the corner or something, you know, like with
Yeah.
the sky as the background. I
Maybe.
don't know. It is kind of unusual that it sticks out the top.
Yeah.
I have not built mine yet. You have
okay.
built yours.
I
yet,
have
right?
built mine. Yeah.
Okay. So do you feel like it's fragile up there, or is it like pretty sturdy on there?
It is a fairly fragile set.
Yeah,
It's
it
pretty
looks like
bottom
you could
heavy.
just kinda knock
So
it off.
yeah,
Understandable.
and basically all the pieces in it are like 1x1 studs. I
Yeah.
feel like.
right.
So you don't want to job that one.
Yeah, another big thing I noticed, and I don't own I don't own the set at all, but I see that the moon has gone from being white to kind of a pale blue, kind of more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does kind of look that
I
way.
like
It
the
looks like
color
it went to the
scheme.
medium
Is
blue.
better
Yeah,
on
I
that
think
one,
it's
yeah.
it's kind of just
The
showing
blue is
how
better.
dark the sky is instead
Yeah.
of it just being normal moon colors, which gives it that dark vibe. I mean, the whole point. I mean, the whole thing with the red skies.
Right.
It's kind of in.
It's like a spooky vibe to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing. So the bat signal
Yeah.
here was on what's one of those. I think it's like a 6x8
It's a weird
sort of
piece.
oval-shaped
Yeah.
tile that typically comes in like the Disney storybooks as the
Yeah.
cover
very,
with that
a
big
very
printed logo on it.
juniorized piece, I think.
Somewhat of a juniorized piece, but what's nice is, as opposed to what we got in the set, which is I guess an 8x8 dish. For starters, it doesn't have studs on it,
Right.
which
That
is
is
and
nice.
it's flat and smooth, whereas this has that kind of dome
and
to
that
it.
one
So
stud in the middle.
I don't know why they chose to change it. Maybe because they wanted it to be a circle rather than an oval. But I kind of like that it didn't have the studs and that it would have been smooth.
Yeah, not fair.
Yeah, that sounds better.
So I don't know. I think the diameter of what we got fits kind of the cone shape of the light beaming up a little bit better. But I mean that's not something they couldn't necessarily have not changed from the original one. I do like that they updated the text to Batman. I feel like the letters just work better in the
I
font
agree.
for me
Mhm.
than I feel like the G and the O like not being perfectly round is kind of a little bit off for that typeface. But overall, it looks like we mostly got some of the same buildings,
Yeah.
but it looks like it was originally arranged in more of a taller,
Oh, yeah,
narrower. I don't
yeah.
think that's just that the picture is
I
squished.
know. I think you're right.
It looks like they're stacked in more of kind of a triangular kind of
Yeah.
ascending shape rather than what we finally got
Which
was
is
more
more
spread out,
Skyline
kind of
looking,
laterally.
yeah.
Mhm.
I did
So-
notice the Joker's face looks the same.
Yeah, I think a lot of the buildings
Yeah.
and the way they were constructed were the same, but they definitely did a major sort of reorientation
Rearrange,
and layout of a lot of those buildings there. So just kind of some interesting differences there.
Mhm.
All right, next up is another very significantly
Yeah.
different one. This is
This
the
is wildly different.
This is the X Mansion. So the original set was completely different color scheme, completely different construction. So I guess whatever they learned from this survey, they basically entirely scrapped this idea and started over. So we have a largely tan and dark tan building with some light gray and dark gray accents there on the top and on the foundation as well. Gosh, I don't know. What are you guys' first impression about this?
It is more boring, I would say, but I kind of like it better.
The leak?
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly.
I think they were going for more of like the 20th Century Fox like
I think so
canceled
too.
X-Men,
And then this
which
is...
I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but I prefer that universe
No,
over the animated
I
series.
do agree with that, actually.
And yeah, I kind of wish we would have gotten the movie version,
Right.
but
Yeah, this was definitely clearly more moved in that 97 direction.
oh for sure, it's all
One of the
great.
things to notice is all these minifigs are very interesting to look at.
It looks like they're just previously
yeah,
used
so there's a
comic book
couple
figures.
of those that are like you look at the Wolverine and the Storm; those look like the ones they'd made in a couple of
Right.
years before. Then you have this Mystique minifig, which would have been so
Yeah.
cool.
Have
But
we never-
she's
have
just
we ever-
no.
We've never gotten a
And
mistake.
she's just this blue with a red hair, like they hadn't done any
Yeah.
printing. And then there's also someone over here. I'm not sure if they were going for like a saber tooth or something. It's hard to
Have
tell.
we even gotten any sets based off of those X-Men movies?
No.
I don't think so.
No, all
That's
of those
kind
are
of
comic
unfortunate.
And then, interestingly enough,
The
this
Cyclops is the darker.
the
blue
Cyclops
color
is
Yeah.
dark, and then
too,
you've got Magneto. But the girl beside him looks like that Diamond girl,
Oh yeah,
and I don't know
okay.
who else that could be. So Interesting.
Yeah,
idea
I'm glad we
here.
got Gambit. I think that's probably the
I
highlight
love
of
the
the new
Gambit.
set.
Yeah.
Everything else I could live without.
You're
I do
right.
like the Gambit.
And the 97 show was good, and I liked
Yeah.
it a lot. It was good, but I would have preferred it be based on those movies and gotten more characters
agree.
from those. But
Fair.
this is a good set. I don't own it. If one comes in here and I have credit, I probably will get it just to get Gambit. And also,
Fair
the Jean
enough.
Grey's pretty good too.
Yeah.
Iceman, and I mean Professor X isn't special, but it's still Professor X. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm happy with either one of these.
Yeah.
But we got what we got.
I mean, in terms of the building itself, I'm sure a lot of people are happy. It's more of kind of the modular style, built
Right.
on base plates, as opposed to this, which looks more like some, like that Jurassic
Malfoy
World
Manor.
set or Malfoy Manor, where it's just kind of a shallow facade,
Uh-huh.
really, of a mansion. So, who knows what other differences there would have been to the interior? But it's certainly interesting to see the very different take on the exterior, as well as all of the minifigures that could have potentially originally been included. All right, next up we're going to talk about the Legend of Zelda Deku tree.
Mm-hmm.
So not
It looks exactly the
Do
same.
not
any
a
of us
ton-
on this?
I do not.
I do not know. No.
I kind of want it though. It looks cool.
It is cool. I don't know anything about the game,
I don't either.
but it is a very cool set.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it looks cool.
Yeah, I think the only differences I see mainly here are the updated plant parts being
Correct.
used.
It's
Yeah.
those newer kind of bundle of leaf pieces that came in the some of the Friend sets initially. I
But
think.
it looks like they knew what they were doing already with a lot of this.
Yeah, there might be some difference kind of down here in the front
Yeah.
section with whatever this tan structure is kind of going on.
Looks like we're maybe missing a tree. or
The
something.
it looks like they just sort of rearranged some of the
Yeah.
trees. I'm seeing like some of these minor ones over here. Now the picture that we're looking at here from the Lego one does not include like the side build for the other like treehouse thing.
Right.
So it's unknown whether in the original survey whether that would have been included or not.
And also, I mean, this set ended up being a 2-in-1 as
Right.
well. So you can
That's
use the
nice,
parts
yeah.
that come in the set to also do. I think this is the newer one, the Winds of Ocarina of Time. You know,
Ocarina of Time.
That's what I said.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
And then
yeah.
the original one as well, Breath
Yeah.
of the Wild.
Breath of the
is
Wild.
yeah. See, I know a little
Um,
bit, but not much.
As far as the minifigures go, they look pretty much the same. We could tell originally that it was going to have those new molds for
Right.
the sword, the shield, all of the different
Which are
hair and hat
pretty
piece
dope.
combos.
Right.
So we did have that information originally. All right. Next up, we have the Simba from Lion
Real
King.
fan favorite we got here.
This was one I really didn't expect to make it through the survey.
And yet, somehow here it is.
And yet it did. So
And it looks exactly the same.
it's
It
identical.
does.
We've
I
got
don't
the
think they changed
same.
anything.
We've got the same tan lever pieces and
No,
the
wait,
tan
hang on. They
foils.
did take the picture from the other side.
Yeah, the
There you
image.
go.
Yeah. No, same construction
see-
for the
yeah.
ears.
Nothing looks different.
The eyes may not have had the print with
I
like the
don't
little
know.
glint on it. It's hard to tell. Those may have been reused eyes from like
Right.
the Grogu or something else. So I'm sure they updated the print for those pieces. But yeah, the construction is effectively identical here for both. So
It looks like a little more tan underbelly, actually. Now that I look at it, so you can see this.
oh,
big
just above
piece,
the big
just above
curved
the
slit
big
Oh,
piece.
yeah.
Yeah, they expanded
So
the
it's
tail
slightly
a little
different,
bit.
but-
Interesting.
Nothing of note.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. Even the tail, same construction there.
Mhm.
But what do you
It's a-
guys think in general about the fact that they even decided to come out with this set?
I'm sure some people like it.
Yeah.
I've never been into the Lion King in general.
Yeah.
So I'm not excited about this. The only thing that makes me go, "Ooh, that's cool," is the brown bush.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Well, they already had that. It came in the what? There was like a rocket
Right,
raccoon.
but
or
it's
something.
still
Oh,
it's still
sure.
cool. Well, that released
For his tail,
very
right?
recently too,
Okay.
so it's still kind of the same thing. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
nothing
about you,
crazy.
Ethan? Any other thoughts on this one?
I actually like the Lion King, and this does not speak to me.
That's interesting. I mean, I feel like it's good
It's
as
a good
far
build,
as brick
but
built
it's just like,
characters
why do
go.
we need it? You
There
know?
are a lot of brick built characters that just are really bad, and I think
right.
this one works. I just not
again,
something
it's
I
no
want.
interest for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It is very well sculpted.
All right, moving on to another Disney character. This is one they did not come out with, so this one did not make the cut.
Heartbreak, honestly.
Yeah, tough break for Donald Duck. This was another large brick-built character.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was supposed to be sort of like a companion piece to like the Mickey and
I was
Minnie
just
that
about to
came
say,
out.
I think that's what they were going for
Mm.
because of
Yeah.
this base he's on. Is that same sort of recording tape that was the same thing with the
Right,
Mickey and
the
Minnie.
film is what that's
yeah,
called.
sorry, I
If you were
my
born
brain just
prior to,
didn't pick up.
if you were
on it.
born in the 20th century.
Sorry, I'm not from the 1900s.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to get a sense of scale on this. I can't tell if his eyes are also those like big
I
6x8
think they are, and
oval
he's just
pieces.
stretched.
Yeah, I mean, it initially didn't really look that big. I thought these were like the 1x1 double slopes, but they must be the 2x2 double slopes for his toes. If it's really that large to be in scale with the Mickey and Minnie. But yeah, I guess for whatever reason the interest was not there. So I don't
really
know
wonder why.
if they'll ever do.
Donald Duck than Simba.
No, I'm with you on that. He's funnier.
Yeah, Donald Duck.
I don't know at this point then if they'll do any other characters like in that with that same style base to expand upon that.
I think that was 21.
I'm sure if they had done this and it had sold well, I mean, we could have potentially gotten
a
Goofy or a Pluto or
crazy.
Who knows who else.
Interesting that they. We just don't know. We don't know why this was not in.
I don't know if it would have worked better if they did like a Donald and Daisy, where it was like the 2-pack kind of to go. Same thing with the Mickey Minnie. I don't know, but tough we didn't get this or really anything comparable to it in the past 2 years. All right, next up we are going to Star Wars Land with the UCS Jabba sail barge. So at first glance it doesn't look entirely different, but if you look closely there are some differences. So the first one that jumps out to me was just the unprinted sails, of course, because it was a preliminary image. But also the panels on the side. So in the original one, it looks like they were using all of the Nexonite shields to get those kind of trapezoidal shapes, whereas it is more accurate to the source material. If you go look, what they did end up doing was every few ones there's like a wider kind of one. So it's nice that they did that. They mixed in a little bit of dark brown with the reddish brown.
The front also appears to be at a lower angle on the new, like the official set.
Could be. I think this one again is kind of a squished image here.
Very
but
possible.
It's hard to tell about the overall length. We definitely did get some more details on the deck though. Like I don't see like the gun up here or anything. So this could have been just a very preliminary model where they were kind of experimenting with the shaping of the outer shell.
Done nothing else.
And they said, that's enough to put an image in the survey to gauge people's interest.
Yeah, I think we definitely are happy with what it ended up being compared to what this was. I have no interest in the set in general, just because it's not what I would go for, especially at the price point it's at. But it's a good set.
Do you have this one, Ethan?
I do not plan to get it.
Really? That's surprising.
Yeah.
You would be the one out of us to get it if
probably
were to get it.
Maybe a few years ago, but
no Huxley or Leia
in her basketball shorts.
Yeah,
I think the one thing that I am appreciating with the newer redesign is the stand.
Yeah.
I feel like certain UCS sets really struggle with stability in their stands because I have owned some of them and sold some.
Yeah. Well,
it's just like this is not very stable. The original design looks pretty rough though.
It looks like the one from that Star Destroyer, which is notoriously
exactly
wobbly.
What I'm hinting at. And
but this one, this looks more. What they ended up doing is more kind of like what they did for like the Titanic almost, where they've got like a bunch,
which is much
more
more sturdy.
It looks
There's
like
no reason to have it stilted up.
If you see a boat in a shipyard, that's what it looks like. Basically.
All right, next up is another, I don't know if you want to say somewhat contentious one for Castle fans, but this is I always screw this up, Medieval Town Square, I believe is the name of it.
I've been screwing up too, and
Not Market
I
Village.
just got it.
Yes. So the building on the right here, so we've got the olive green and dark tan building, as well as the red and black building with the sort of castle tower.
That's pretty similar.
Looks to be mostly the same. For whatever reason, in the original, the thatched roof on the red building was also red. I don't know why.
Or a very similar color to red.
I think it's red on that one. I don't know why.
So
they switched it to tan, which makes much more sense. It looks like there was originally an extra tree sort of on the right hand side that just got the axe. No pun intended.
Nice. Some beehives.
Did the original one have more animals, or is it just this picture?
The original one had a lot more animals.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a big.
So in the final one, we basically got it looks like a kitten. We ended up getting the goat in dark bluish gray, which was the most nototable thing about this.
No
a squirrel, and I think that's it.
So I'm
like
in
a
the
little
process
bird
of
up on the
building
screen.
this currently, and I've only noticed 3 animals, and it's the goat, cat, and
that's
squirrel.
unfortunate. It looks like we got a horse, a cow, a few other ones.
Yeah,
there's
so
a lot in
a medium nougat cow. The
sheep.
preliminary model for the goat was in kind of a medium blue, but that could have just been a placeholder.
Probably.
The horse in dark orange, which we have gotten. I can't tell what else. This might be like a baby goat or something over here.
Not really
I
sure.
can't tell about this tan one. The sheep presumably are the ones with like the removable wool, which would have been really nice to get those again. So yeah, we definitely kind of got the short end of the stick on the animal front.
Now for some reason in this picture you don't see the tree that it comes with.
but it wasn't. Yeah.
There's a big central tree,
like a standalone.
It's
one.
much better than this little standalone one.
Yes, the one on the left
so
side
that
here.
at least there's that.
That's good.
But these two buildings are very different.
Yes,
or I guess this
the left
section,
side building basically got a complete redesign.
Instead of it being these tall, skinnier structures, it's smaller, beefier structures. Which I mean, I don't mind. They are very different, and I'm not sure why they decided to do that.
I actually prefer the older.
I would too, and especially with the animals as well. But I do like the style of those buildings and the colors of them.
Yeah.
This in the original image, it kind of reminds me more of the original medieval market village, which is like two kind of like facade fronts of houses, like in the original, or like in Hogsmeade Village maybe is another good comparison. And they opted for more of a kind of closed-in structure here with some more dynamic angles.
Which are all hinged, so you can kind of open them up, but you also can close them up.
I think the redesign is missing a little bit of the charm from the older version, which is keeping me from getting it.
Things just got boiled down a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, we had like this whole table with like these 3 beehives and like a thing, and then in the set we got 1 beehive and like a vegetable.
Like
and I'm sure the price that they were considering was going to be much higher as well, and they scaled it down a little bit to make it more available. I just picked this one up and I'm building it because it's a great companion piece to go with the Lion Knight Castle. So I'm happy with it. This isn't making me as happy with it though. Bringing this back up and making it fresh in my mind.
There was like a Jester minifig
I know,
too. With, like,
I was
the blue
looking
and
at
orange
that.
hat. He got the axe.
There is a Wolfpack.
There was another forestman
That's
guy.
a big one. The
I do
Wolf
like
Pack
that.
and the town leader, sketchy dude, Sheriff of Nottingham.
The tax collector.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's pretty cool looking too.
I do like the redesign for the Wolfpack. I think that looks good.
Yeah, but as far as the set goes and the animal inclusions, this one was definitely a downgrade.
Cut some corners for sure.
Definitely a downgrade. All right, let's move on next. We are going over to Harry Potter for actually both of our last 2 sets are going to be Harry Potter. So the first one up is the UCS Burrow,
which I do have.
Ethan has
fantastic.
This one? Nice. That's surprising to me because when I saw this, my first reaction was,
you were hating hard.
Is this really necessary?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like that much of an upgrade over like the playset.
I can confirm it's almost double the height.
Yeah.
And everything's better about it. I really enjoy the UCS one.
I really like that it ended up coming with every Weasley.
Yeah,
I think that's huge.
Nice.
Which makes sense.
Is
It
what
looks like in the
they were
original
planning.
plan. 1,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think it should be 7 kids and 2 adults. But this one looks like
This
Hermione.
also, honestly, that looks like a
is that
Hermione,
Hermione?
but I don't see a Harry.
Yeah, hard to say. I don't know.
There's also somebody up there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. That's like Ginny or somebody up there.
Yeah.
I do like the Flu Network fireplace that they designed. That's pretty cool.
I think the most notable thing I noticed with
like a
this
double window
is
up
the top.
Yeah.
The chimney.
Chimney is much more beefy and preliminary.
This window got redesigned as well.
Did it?
Which one?
No, I think it's the same.
This one right here.
Oh, the front.
Oh,
one.
yeah,
Yes.
you're
Okay.
right.
Yeah, the
It
front
did.
window
It
did
does
change,
look a
and
good
the
amount.
one below
And,
here.
and the one right over here.
So they redesigned some
They kind of
windows.
simplified the windows a little. It looks like.
Yeah, they did.
That's-
In
Yeah,
favor of the ones
the
that
old
actually
one
had the
looks a little
glass
better.
panes in them.
These
ones
like
were mostly
this.
windows that didn't have the glass in them. They just had the kind of.
I think
the
looks
little-
better.
I do
Honestly,
too.
yeah.
I
I
think
think it's kind of I don't want to say a cop out, but it just seems like they were.
It looks more realistic with the
exactly
the smaller windows.
It fits the style better.
Yeah.
But it is a very
It's still a beautiful
similar
set,
design for sure. I need to come look at yours.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's
you
really
get
nice.
the whole house. You get the little pig pen on the side. But one of my big gripes with this set was that I wanted them to do something new that they hadn't done before. I would have liked to have seen like Mr. Weasley's shed, the sort of like half round like building that's full of all his like old radio equipment, like Muggle artifacts and
The only
things.
thing with that is, I can't tell you what it looks like.
Was that only in the
You
books?
go back and rewatch the movies.
Well,
Or is
exactly.
it in the
But I'm
movies?
saying everyone.
Yeah,
knows
there's a
what the
scene.
Burrow
There's a
looks
scene
like.
that you see it in all of the movies. It's over there on the side, like usually where he parks the
okay.
car. But
Right.
then there is a scene that takes place inside there as
Okay.
well.
So,
But it's just I don't know. I feel like it's just a lot of the same of what we've done before. It is to that bigger and better scale, but I feel like Harry Potter's trying to keep up with Star Wars in the sense of doing like UCS style sets, and I think they're kind of running out of ideas pretty quickly.
I think this one was a good contender, though. I think,
Yeah.
if anything, Star Wars is running out of ideas.
Yeah,
Land
that too.
speeder.
Well,
really.
okay, they're not running out of ideas.
They just choose the wrong
They just
ones
are
to
bad
build.
at
Yeah.
That's fair.
We can help you.
Yeah. All right, for our final set here, we have the Harry Potter sorting hat. And first reactions.
Gryffindor!
Yeah, you press the button on that sound break, and like half the time it just says, Anyway, looking at the actual structure of it, not much is different here. It looks like the eyes were slightly changed, probably to get that function to work a little bit differently. They sort of have that big Technic pin going through the center, whereas originally it was kind of oriented the other way, so maybe the moving eyebrows was a feature that was added later. But those Technic pins are, for me, a little bit distracting. They almost kind of look like small eyes for a second, but I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Sort of a weird thing, but there wasn't really any way to avoid it. But I'm sure having the play feature is better than that. But what do you guys think about this one? Do either of you have this set?
I don't. I've played with it.
No, I don't. We played with it when it came in the store one time.
And it is a cool set.
I think it looks great, but the price is really...
It is $100 because they really made you pay for that sound brick. It does have a lot of options, but I tried it on Tommy like 5 times in a row, and all it said was,
Yeah.
Okay.
It really didn't know what to do with it.
It needed a little bit... Well, I don't know if it was that it was too random or not random enough, but there needed to be some sort of thing where it's like, okay, only do the same sound once in a row and then do a house. So kind of interesting.
I think it's a little too overpriced for me to really want to buy it.
But it's a good set.
I know Natty wants it, so I'll probably
fair enough.
But
if your wife wants it,
I wouldn't buy it for myself.
Right.
Oh, it did have the
that's
pins
what I
in
was
the
gonna
center.
say.
It's those Technic
with those. They definitely made it better.
Yeah, I'm sure that works better. That one was because it was round. It was probably using a friction pin, and they were maybe like drooping over time or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, everything else is identical. This even had the stickers on it, the little tassel. The construction of everything else is essentially identical to the finished model. Hard to tell what was going on with the house banners underneath. It's kind of dark under there, but I'm sure they would have ended up being the same.
So I think that turned out pretty good.
Yeah, but that is our final set that was from that survey that leaked. Yeah, gosh, I forgot it was February of 2023. That was so long
ago.
Yeah. Rivendell obviously being the first one to come out, and then I don't know what would have been the last one to come out. Probably the Sail Barge. Because that just came out this October.
Or maybe the
X Mansion.
I think those both came out at the same time.
I'm not sure which was later, but very interesting to see. We have been, like I said, tracking this for a long time in my notes on my phone.
You've had it on a note on our morning break notes for 2 years.
I would track when we got actually a more tangible leak and like final pictures and when the set was released. So interesting to go back and look at these and compare what we actually ended up receiving in a Lego set. Right, no Donald, no Maleficent Dragon.
Those are the 2 we didn't get. One of those definitely would have been great. The other one, I'm indifferent towards. Sorry.
Every other set we ended up getting in some form or another. Some with more significant changes to them than others, like you mentioned, probably pertaining mostly to altering that price point for what we ended up paying for those sets. But a fascinating look into sort of the design development process of Lego, which is not something we get to do very often. So if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like on it, as well as consider subscribing to Atlanta Break Code TV. You can also consider joining our membership tiers for some fun exclusive content on there. And we don't normally do this, but I would appreciate it if you would tell a friend about our content. If you have any friends in the Lego community, go say, hey, find one of our old videos that you think they might like and go share it with a friend and say, hey, check this out. I think you'd like it. It would really help us out. We would really appreciate it. So thank you all for joining us for this episode of Between the Studs, and we will see you next time. Take care, everyone.